These were the hottest designer items in 2022, but are they still worth buying in 2023? I will be going through Lyst indexes past. The Lyst index is basically a report that comes out on a quarterly basis that takes into account Google search data, purchase data, natterings on social media to determine the hottest brands, the hottest products of that quarter. So I've gone through Q1 to Q4 of 2022 and I have hand selected 12 items to go through today. Are they worth parting with your hard-earned money for in this year of 2023? Links to these items will be below and in the shopping prompt on the screen. Let's kick it off with, I'm going to go chronologically with this, the Valentino Tan Go Platforms. So, obviously I have a pair of these. I have the Patent Black, very trendy, everywhere. Since these have been released, they come in a range of colours now. You can get green, you can get orange, you can get pink. They've done versions even with rock studs, fully crystal. Now, my personal review of these, I love them. I've worn them so much more than I thought I would. They go with everything. I'm glad that I got them with black because even more opportunity to wear them with more things. I just like them, they very much suit my style. And if all of my shoes went away and I could only have 5 pairs, this would be one of the top 5 because versatility, right? These girls know it. And I think that generally, this is a very classic timeless style of platform, right? There's nothing crazy going on. If you compare it to something like the Versace Avitas platforms, these are definitely more statement-y, so much more trendy, right, than these. Because it's very much more of a commitment to the style in general, as opposed to these which are like, listen, I'll go with everything. I've definitely got my use out of them. And based on that, I think if you're still considering these, they're worth it. These are true to size in my experience. Guys, if you are new here, my name is Cassie and I'm a self-diagnosed luxury addict. I put out videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, so if you like luxury fashion, then you're gonna love it here. So head down there, subscribe, turn on the bell, become a member of our luxury addicted family. When are we going to rehab? Never. Right, item number 2, the Miu Miu mini skirt. Doesn't it seem like this happened years ago? The micro mini skirt, the smallest skirt in the world's existence, had a dedicated Instagram following all of the editorial shoots and celebrities that had worn this skirt and all of that. I think we can all sit here quite happily and determine that it's not really worth you buying in 2023. Obviously, if this is your style, if a micro mini skirt is you to the core, get it, love it, rock it, please, for those of us who would be arrested for public indecency if they did. But really, I think that we all sort of knew, if this isn't you, you're alright, don't you worry. You are not missing out on fashion and the hot trends and everything if you do not buy this skirt. I have almost been plagued by this skirt so much that I'm feeling like Valentino Pink sick about it. The more you eat the cake, the less that cake tastes as good as the first time, until it comes to the point where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be violently ill. That's how I feel about this skirt. The Diesel 1DR bag. Diesel is loving their resurrection, shall we say, because they were really dormant for a while there. They've really sort of cemented themselves as this bit more on the contemporary side luxury brand, right? They're doing runways, they are being worn by all these celebrities. And I especially think that their timing has been perfect because of our nostalgia for Y2K, the early 2000s, and the Diesel logo very much plays into that. All of this has worked in its favour. Now, one of their really popular pieces is the 1DR bag. It's a little shoulder bag, they do it in 2 sizes, few different colours, they're doing them seasonally, on the much more approachable price point in the realm of luxury bags. So, do I still think this is worth getting now? Yes, I think that this is a great bag. I think it's easy to integrate into a lot of people's wardrobes. It's still sort of fun and trendy. Diesel is still having a moment if you care about that aspect of it. But if you don't, generally, it's a great bag. Riding the Diesel train. This came up as one of the hottest items in Q3 of 2022, and it was the Diesel belt. Now, in the early 2000s, I was around 10, and I loved me a big belt buckle. Let me just share a personal story with you. I went to the Christina Aguilera Stripped Tour concert with my mother, whom I begged when we were at the merch station to get me this specific belt buckle. She got me the belt buckle, and it was white enamel and metal, and it said stripped in pink letters across it. I was 10 and I wore that to my school disco, right? The more I think of these times in my life, the more I realise more and more my mum is the mum from Mean Girls, but I maybe have residual trauma from that. I think that this is maybe like that line of a bit too trendy. It's hot now, it's having a moment. I think in a year or two time, we're going to be like, oh, put it in hibernation for 10 years and then let's bring it out again. Two very similar items cropped up on the Lyst index last year. And they are both tank tops. White, ribbed tank tops. One from Prada, one from Loewe. The Loewe one, I believe, was like £300. I think it was like $400-ish. The Prada tank top, I distinctly remember, as being just under $1,000 for a tank top. I am not somebody that wears a lot of tank tops, so I'm not coming from a place of, you know, avid enjoyment of this piece of clothing. And while I will say that if you are one of those people, you'll probably get a good use out of this. Your cost per wear out of this might be so low that you're like, actually, it's worth it to me to buy the Prada one for $1,000 because I'm going to wear this into the ground. I wear these every day. Fine. But I also come from a place of like, if you've got $1,000 to spend on a designer top, please let's do something a bit more exciting. Like, I'm concerned about the fact that this was one of the hottest items, and the thing is that I saw this around. Miu Miu ballet flats. I've talked so much about these. I'm not going to bore you again going into the ins and outs. We know these shoes, we've seen these shoes. Ballet flats are obviously very trendy. If you want longevity, maybe not these ones in particular, loads of brands this year are dropping their versions of ballet flats. Maybe you might find something that suits your style a bit more, so you've got that longevity in your wardrobe if the Miu Miu ones aren't for you. If the Miu Miu ones are very your style, go for it. If you're umming and ahhing, there will be lots more options for you this year to help you make your decision. The Saint Laurent Icare bag, BBE Big Bag Energy, to its core. And again, I've gone on and on about this bag. You know I like this bag. I think this is a great bag. If you are looking for a big bag that you can throw your life in and swing over your shoulder, that is obviously trendy, all leather, Saint Laurent, this is the one for you. If you do want the option of having something a bit more low-key because that logo is large, you can just wear it the other way if you're out in public and that is something that concerns you. Eventually, when the big bag trend dies down and then we go crawling back to TBE again, it's still a great bag to have. And I think that's the way to look at some of these things is, obviously all of our wardrobes are different. Trendy things are happening all of the time. It's about making sure that if you are interested in those trendy things, you pick the right ones that make sense for you and your wardrobe so you love it, you get the use out of it, and you still love it when the trend is dead. Right, I haven't spoken about this item yet on this channel and I've been waiting for my moment. This, single-handedly, is one of the most popular pieces purely because of the celebrities that have been seen in this item. This is the Loewe leather bomber jacket. It has been seen on Hailey Bieber, Kendall Jenner, Taylor Russell, and Lori Harvey. And to be honest with you, this happened within about 2 weeks of each other, right? We saw one and then all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, actually it was spotted on her, and her. This is apparently the it bomber jacket among celebrities. And I say celebrities because this is $7,000. Let me get you the UK price. £5,000. I think this is really on the list purely because of mentions on social media and people searching for it going, hold on a second, I actually might be interested in that, and then seeing the price and going, maybe not. It's fully leather, it's voluminous, it's puffy, it's squidgy, it's balloon-like. Purely due to the price of this, I do not think it is worth it. Prada slingbacks. I feel like these sort of trickled into things last year. It didn't sort of come in all guns blazing as a hot item like, look at me, I'm the hot new item, come and get it. It was just sort of like there, here and there, like, oh, you know, happening, living its life. These come in so many different colours. The particular versions of these Prada slingbacks that I think are the nicest, purely just out of what tickles my taste buds, are the ones that sort of have a bit of a sporty edge. They've got sort of rubber around the sides and the heel is rubber as well. This is obviously a kitten heel. If you're a kitten heel person or those are the kind of shoes you like, I think these are a really great investment. They are a piece that you can wear time and time again. Whilst it may be trendy at the moment, this is not an overly trendy piece. As we know, Bottega has a very good track record of it bags. under Daniel Lee. And so when Mathieu Blazy came in as creative director last year, it was like, will he also have the Midas touch when it comes to bag? And the Bottega Veneta Sardine bag has made it onto these lists last year. Now, what I quite like about this bag is that it is still very true to Bottega with the Intrecciato weave, even with the style of the bag in general. But the very sculptural handle of it dips its baby toe into that novelty trend that I've been talking about. Those little weird and wonderful things, be it an animal, be it the way that something is sculptured, be it the sort of campiness behind an item. And by having this abstract sardine, I mean, the whole thing is a bit... I remember when I first saw it, the pictures of it on the runway, I was like, are you okay? And then after some time I thought, to be honest with you, this is a very wearable bag with a nice sculptural hardware handle. So whilst I think the style is unique, I don't think it's overly trendy. And I think if you're craving the Bottega Veneta Sardine bag, I don't think it's like late to the trend. I still think it's worth it. The next two surprised me because they made their way onto the list in 2022. And I'm going to need you to mentally prepare yourselves for the next one. Are you ready? Are you settled? Miu Miu satin briefs. Yes, briefs. Pants. Knickers. Underwear. Your skivvies. Those have made their way onto this list. I might be able to have the same argument for this one as I had with the tank tops, which is like, well, you're gonna get a lot of use out of it, depending on your wash schedule. People obviously aren't just wearing this as underwear. I don't know, actually. Maybe there are people just out here like with their satin Miu Miu knickers. But mainly it's because people are wearing these layered under low-rise jeans or skirts or trousers, so then you have that little bit of like, you know, Miu Miu-ness. How people used to do with boxers, but you know, this is a bit more, you know, frilly, girly-ish version of that. I would simply never. And I really think that these are only worth getting if you are like in the fashion industry, you are a fashion girly influencer, something like this, where like, I need to be wearing the hot new trendy piece to wear at fashion shows and fashion weeks and all of that. In which case, fine, that makes sense to me. Get your nice little street style pick out of it, let's have a good go. But I think those of us whose lives are not that, it's not worth it in the slightest. Okay, so this next one surprised me because these aren't new. We know these, okay? We're very used to these. But somehow the Mac & Mac double bow pumps made it onto last year's list. We may be getting Valentino Pink sick a little bit over these actually, because I've just seen them so much. I mean, I thought these came out in like a 2021. And again, I'll give you my honest review on these as somebody that has owned these. True to size, I've got a size 39. Now, the initial problem with these shoes is that because of the way the straps crossed at the back, you had rubbing off of crystal. Do you see that? Some of the crystals rubbed onto each other and then rubbed off, because this almost feels like a tube of glue that's had a load of crystal shoved in it. That's the only way I can describe it. Anyway, so obviously people aren't particularly happy about that aspect. Are they the comfiest shoe around? No. Do they look good? Yes. However, the sparkle of these shoes, I don't think another shoe comes close to it. Obviously it's got a very unique style. There is no doubting that this is a Mac & Mac shoe. Ah, you see, these bows have like stuck to each other the way that I've positioned them. And be careful, because the way that I've sort of stored this, the bows have stuck together. I told you it's like a glue. And there we go. You'll see like, yeah, some of the crystals have moved and rubbed off and everything else. Okay, well, note to self. But because so many people had problems with the rubbing off of crystals on the back straps, they have changed the design of these shoes such that the straps don't cross over each other at the back. So you shouldn't really have that issue like you did with the original version that I've got. And I'm trying to think of like, if I didn't have these shoes, based on the shoes that I currently have, would I buy these in 2023? And I think I probably would. And I think that's because they're very unique as a shoe. That snout, it's a long snout, but it's a snout that works. I think if you've been thinking of these, just know that they're not the comfiest, but they do look good. Keep that in mind. I'm going to leave a link to another video over here in case you haven't already seen it. Have an amazing morning, afternoon or evening wherever you are. And in the words of my father,
if you've enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you haven't, keep your mouth shut.
I'll see you in my next one. Mwah. Bye, guys.